We'll start with the prayers. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Pat Pranas Chakshushrotram Matho Balam Indriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakharot Anirakaranamastva Anirakaraname Astu Tadatmani Nirate Yat Upanishatsu Dharmaste Te Mai Santo Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are doing Keno Upanishad. We have finished chapter 1 and chapter 2. Today we are going to start with chapter 3. Before I progress into chapter 3, I will give you a quick summary of what has happened so far in about 10 minutes. Keno Upanishad is one of the most brilliant Upanishads you can study in the field of spiritual science. This Upanishad has got 34 mantras, 8 mantras in the first chapter, 5 mantras in the second chapter. We have finished 13 mantras. The first chapter is giving us how this spiritual study is done in the Vedic times. It is always in the form of a samvada. A samvada means it is a dialogue between a guru and a sishya. In the very first verse, now I'm telling you the summary of 8 verses of the first chapter. The first verse is a question by the student. And the question is, what is Atma? It is indirectly put in a form by a student to his teacher. Instead of asking directly what is Atma, he is asking, how does the prana work, function? How does the eyes and the ears function? How does the speech is able to speak languages? How does the mind think? How does the mind have emotions? That is the indirect form of the student. The student is asking his teacher. It is as good as you and I going and asking a teacher, or teacher, explain to me everything about myself. My sense organs of knowledge, my organs of action, my pranas, my mind, my antakaranam. That is me. All of us are a composite entity made of these 4 or 5 things. So, are they operating by themselves? Is the question, or is there an instigator? Is there a facilitator? Is there someone who propels them into action? Impels them into action. Verse 2 is the definition of Atma. Verse 3 is a definition of Atma. Verse 2 says, it is chakshusha chakshuhu, manaso manaha, pranasya pranaha, shrotrasya shrotraha. It is the ear of the ear. It is the eye of the eye. It is the mind of the mind. Which means what? It is the consciousness behind the sense organs. It is the consciousness behind the breath. It is the consciousness behind all our actions. That is the teacher's definition of Atma. Then the second definition given in the third verse by the teacher. Atma is neither known, it is distinct from the known, it is distinct from the unknown. Known and unknown are concepts of the intellect. Whenever the mind is active, you have a concept of either something is known to you or something is unknown to you. This is a second definition of Atma. You have to follow the sequence of study, exactly like how the student asked the question, the teacher has given the answer. In your mind, you should throw away all your other concepts, make your mind empty, listen to the conversation of the student and the teacher. You will follow the Upanishads completely. In the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and the eighth mantras, 5 mantras. Student has asked, what is Atma? The teacher has said, Atma is this. Then, so in 4 verses, the Upanishad teaching is over. But then the teacher feels that he has to give some more information about the aspects what the student asked. So he, in 5 verses, he repeats the same message and says what reveals the speech, what reveals the mind, what reveals the sense organs, what reveals the prana, what makes the prana, he says is Atma. So the first chapter is a question and an answer and an emphasis by the teacher that this is Atma. So from this, what do we learn? There is a consciousness principle which our eyes and ears cannot know. Our mind cannot know. This Atma, this consciousness is a separate entity. It is not a part of the body. It is not the product of the body. It is not the product, a property of the body, which means neither the gross body, neither the mind, the subtle body. Atma is an independent entity. So whenever I want to know who am I, what should you say? I am Atma, the consciousness principle, and full stop, nothing more than that. Whenever you want to know who are you, always say, I am Atma in your own mind. That is the correct way of understanding the Upanishad. Whatever doubts and questions you may have after this is only your own intellect. It is a projection of your intellect because you have not understood the Atma clearly. If you are a spiritually fit student, an adhikari, you will understand clearly the first chapter and you will say, I have understood it and I'm walking out of the class. That is what happens in the second chapter. One of the student, he says, the teacher okay, now we go to the second chapter. The second chapter consists of 5 verses. The second chapter is a test, is an examination by the guru to the students. And what does he say? He asks the student, oh Shishya, have you understood this Atma, which I explained to you? One of the brightest student, Uttamadhikari, he puts up his hand and says, I don't think I know Atma. At the same time, not that I don't know. See how beautifully he constructs his answer. You can go back to the notes and revise the notes and see the depth of this answer. What he's trying to say is that knowing is a function of the intellect. It cannot know Atma. At the same time, I cannot say I don't exist. I exist as consciousness, as the subject. So he rephrases his answer exactly like how the Guru had answered the definition of Atma. That is the answer of the Uttama Adhikari. Then the teacher explains that if you are a wise person, you will not know the Atma. It will be always unknown to you. If you say you know the Atma, that means you don't know the Atma, you are ignorant person. Only to say that Atma is always the subject, it can never be known. The second chapter is only trying to re-emphasize the point that Atma is always the subject, it is never an object. Then, so these are in the first 3 verses. Then comes the 4th verse, which is the most important verse of Keno Upanishad. Go through that verse again and again in your mind whenever you want to understand your true nature. You can go and study any bhashyam, any commentary of any other speaker, any other person who you have access to. The 4th verse says, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. This is the most important quarter of that particular verse. Pratibodha means in every experience, there is Atma, which is changeless, which is eternal, and it is the illuminator of the experience. All experiences, whether it is in the waking state, where the mind is active, sense organs are active, and you experience a Jagrat world. Second realm of experience, Swapna. Sense organs are not active, mind is active. Mind is only a collection of vasanas, samskaras, gathered in the waking state. So that individual is experiencing the samskaras in the swapna state. In the sleep state, the mind is resting. Neither the sense organs are active, neither the mind is active. Both are put to sleep because of tamoguna of Prakriti. Chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita clearly says, Prakriti, matter, consists of 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva means knowledge, Rajas means action, Tamas means inertia. So the sleep state is the state of Tamas, which is inertia. Neither you know yourself, neither you know the world, neither you know the creator of the world or the substratum of the world. So the 4th verse clearly says all modifications of the mind are illumined by one principle, which is called as Atma, which is Pratibodha. Every experience is illumined by the consciousness principle. If this is the story of Atma, then it is very easy to understand that this independent principle, which can illumine like the screen of the TV. The screen is extremely important. Without the screen, you cannot see the movie. The movie comes and goes. The waking state, dream state, sleep state come and go. They come and go for the individual jiva to fulfill his desires as per the prarabdha karma. The waking world is a karma bhumi. All of us are made to act as per our past actions and results of actions. But beyond these three states is the illuminator, the substratum of the whole universe, which is called as Atma. From the individual standpoint of view, it is called as Brahman from the totality. The fourth verse is a Mahavakyam. It gives the equation of Atma with Brahman. It is the substratum. There is one substratum, Adhishtanam. Knowledge of this Atma gives us immortality because this Atma is eternal, it is changeless, it is ever free. For moksha, you need two types of understanding. Number one, you should understand clearly what is Atma. Atma is the illuminator of all the experiences. Experienced world is jadam, inert. The illuminator is sentient principle. What is the second understanding? The second understanding is this knowledge itself will give me freedom from the notion that I am the body. If what Keno Upanishad reveals to me is the truth, then I accept and claim Atma as my nature. I don't need any other understanding except the knowledge of Atma. I don't need to be in Samadhi state, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi state to realize Atma. I don't need a mystic experience to realize Atma. I don't have to wait for a future event after which I can say I'm a realized person. Not in the next birth I will be Atma. I am free here and now. Realization of Atma is during Shravanam. This Shankaracharya brilliantly brings it out in his commentary. This commentary of Shankaracharya for these 34 verses is amazing. It is really amazing. I'm writing the notes. I have finished the notes of the commentary in whatever way I have understood the Bhashyam. For those of you who would like to have, please visit the website. There are 3 volumes already posted in the website. You can have a look at them. If you can't, you write to me. I will send you the 3 volumes. I'm writing the 4th volume. 600 pages have already been written based on the commentary of Shankaracharya. So whatever I'm saying is nothing but whatever I have heard on the commentary on Shankara Bhashya. So this is The fourth verse, the last verse, the fifth verse clearly says, what is the Phalashruti? Phalashruti means, if I come to know this Atma, what do I get? The Upanishad says, you will be fulfilled in life. Fulfillment is Purnaha. You will not lack anything in life. After this knowledge, you will not lack anything. Why? Because the knowledge is such. What is the knowledge? Knowledge is, I am Atma. Will I continue to be a father and a mother and do my roles in the as a grihastha? Yes. The grihastha role is at a lower level. Atma is at a higher level. Atma is lakshyartha. Jivaha is bhashyartha. Satyam is Atma. Mithya is Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. I'm using technical words. You should understand the technical words clearly. Then you will have a full grasp of the whole teaching. Vedanta is understood technically, then your intellect will be firm. The intellect will gain the strength. It has to be understood clearly. If you don't understand something, you must ask me. Yesterday, there was a student who was doing a self-study course based on my talks of Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters. She called me from London and said, I don't understand the chapter 7th verse. How is it possible that there is a particular verse which she asked me the clarification. I explained to her that this is the way you understand this verse. In 10 minutes, she was so convinced and so thankful. She said, I was breaking my head for 2 weeks. She's a scientist. So, this is the whole spiritual study is a science. You have to understand it clearly. Till you understand, you have to keep on listening. Keep on clearing your doubts here and there. A time will come when you will say, yes, I understand Vedanta, I understand the Upanishad very, very clearly, and I totally can claim now myself to be Atma. Till that time, keep on listening to these Upanishadic Vakyams. Okay, so that was a summary of chapter 1 and 2. 8 verses of the first chapter, 5 verses of the second chapter, which is the essence of the Keno Upanishad teaching. 13 verses. In 13 verses, Keno Upanishad brilliantly reveals the nature of our true self. Now, I will go to the third chapter, which is our topic for today. The third chapter consists of 12 verses, and it is a story. I am not taking verse by verse. I am giving you a gist of these 12 verses. You all have a text which has got the verse and the meaning. If you don't have, you ask me, I will send it to you. These verses are easy to follow after you have gone through this talk. And then there is also Anubhuti Prakasha. Swami Vidyaranya has written a commentary of on this Keno Upanishad. Like I did Mundaka Upanishad commentary of Puroksha Anubhuti. There is, I have written down the notes of that. For those who are interested, I can send them to you. You can go through the presentation of Vidyaranya. See, what happens is once you have understood, first time when you understand Upanishad, you may not get all the nuances connected with the Upanishad. It's very natural. But as you delve deeper and deeper, taking another commentary, taking the Shankaracharya's Bhashyam, what happens is the knowledge becomes firmer and firmer. Only when the knowledge becomes firmer, the mind gains the strength to own up that Atma as the self. You have the courage, you get the confidence, and make it a nishtha, a conviction for yourself that I am Atma. Not easy, but it is possible. Our Guru Parampara is a proof, is a pramanam that it works. The Upanishadic study works. I only have to make my mind fit for that knowledge. The story in this third chapter is a story in the Devaloka. In the Devaloka, you see, according to the Vedic scriptures, there are 14 lokas. One of the loka is called as Swarga Loka, where the Devatas reside. It seems that the Devatas were having a pride that they were supreme and they were controlling the universe. You know, the universe is controlled by Pancha Bhutas. The Pancha Bhutas are material in nature, but there is a presiding deity which lords over the elements. This is known to us from the Veda. So what happened is, this is a story. It says, the story says that all these Panchabhutas felt that they were very, very strong and they were controlling the universe. Agni Devata felt that it can scorch the whole universe at its will. It can burn everything. Vayu Devata felt it can toss up the whole universe. You know, when you get a tornado, you can see how everything gets blown away. So the story says Vayu Devata challenged and says, I can burn. Vayu Devata says, I can blow away the whole whatever is there. So what happens is the Lord, Ishvara, who is the Lord of all the Devatas, he appeared in a Yaksha form. Yaksha means it is like a light. It's an illuminating entity. That's all. Like sunlight, it is an illuminating entity. So the Yaksha arrived and in before the gods. And then they were all wondering, what is this Yaksha? The first one, Agni went and said, okay, let me go and see what is this Yaksha. Yaksha stands for the absolute Brahman, the truth principle. And what it did was it put a blade of grass in front of Agni Devata. And then it said, can you try to burn this blade of grass? You say you can scorch the whole universe. Agni Devata tried. It couldn't even go and touch that blade of grass. It withdrew and came back to explain that there is something in this universe which I don't know what it is. It is brilliant, and it has given me something to burn a simple blade of grass. I don't know, I don't understand. Then Vayu Devata said, oh, don't worry, you are nothing. Let me go and try. It went to toss up that blade of grass. The blade of grass remained exactly in the same position. It could never lift that blade of grass. Then what happened? Then the Deva Raja, King Indra, he said, okay, let me go. When he went, Yaksha withdrew its manifestation. That manifestation of the grass and the light went away. And King Indra was not satisfied, so he went and met goddess Uma, Parvati. This is a story. Then Parvati teaches that the gods cannot win anything in this universe without the eternal Yaksha or Brahman or consciousness principle. This is the whole story. What are the philosophical ideas which we should gather from here? What we should gather is that manifest and unmanifest are two possibilities in this universe which exist. The universe which we are saying as the universe, the Jagrat universe, the Swapna universe, the sleep world, all these three, they are only manifestations and unmanifestations. But there is a substratum for these manifestations and unmanifestations. That is the first philosophical lesson we should understand from this story. The second lesson is the elements. Space, air, fire, water, earth are born out of this reality called as Brahman. See, the reality or substratum is the truth. And from that truth, manifestation, unmanifestation happens whenever the mind is awake, whenever the mind goes to sleep, unmanifestation happens. But the substratum in which this whole thing is appearing and disappearing is nothing but consciousness. Each element has got a property. This is Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha says element Akasha has one property, which is sound. In space, all the sounds are heard. Echo comes when there is a certain phenomena in front of it. You hear sounds of echo. In between two hills, you can sometimes hear the sound. It's because of the space in between. Air has got two properties, touch and sound. Sound is a borrowed property. Touch is its own property of the element air. Because of the element air, whenever there is warmness, I can feel it. Whenever there is coldness, I can feel it. It's a very warm day. How do we feel it? Because of the air touching our skin. Then fire. It has got three properties: form, touch, and sound. Form is its own property. That is why I can see shapes of objects. colors of objects. Touch and sound is borrowed from the other two elements. Water has got 4 attributes, properties. Taste is its own property, other 3 are borrowed. Earth has got 5 qualities. Smell is its special quality, and the other 4 are borrowed. As you grow from gross earth to subtle akasha, the properties keep on decreasing. And ultimately, Taittiriya Upanishad says that akasha itself is born out of Atma, out of Brahman. That Brahman has got no property, no attributes. It cannot be, therefore, experienced by us. Nobody can say, I have experienced Brahman. One can only say, I claim myself to be that truth. This is a very important lesson. If you have understood this aspect of the teaching, you will never look at Atma as an object at any time in your life. Neither in meditation, neither at any time. Right now, at this moment, while you are listening to the talk, you can realize that Atma as the very presence in you. It is the substratum of the whole universe. It is known only from the Upanishads. When you close your eyes, you see thoughts, but thoughts are illumined by this Atma. Thought manifests Atma. Atma illumines the thought. Understand these 2 sentences. Then the teaching is 100% clear. Right now, this moment when you are listening, Shankaracharya in his commentary clearly says, while listening to the Upanishads, if you are a fit student, you will admire the glory of this Atma as your own self. In this Atma, everything else is happening. Elements are presiding deities of sense organs that illumine these qualities. So element Agni or Varuna or Prithvi is not just a substance. It's not a material substance itself. It is together with this reflection of this Brahman, and which makes this Prithvi a live, functioning earth. It makes the sun illumine. The sun is so powerful. So many laws are connected with the functioning of the sun, but the sun is only illumined by this Atma. It is a manifestation of Brahman. Gayatri mantra is very powerful. Tat savitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodhyat. That mantra, what is the essence behind that mantra? That mantra is famous. It is there in it is there in all the Vedas. That is why it is so famous. All the 4 Vedas, it is there. What is it? What is the relevance of that mantra? It says, it reveals Brahman to me. That's all. The more I meditate on Gayatri mantra again and again and again and again, the effulgence of the sun, The sun itself is so effulgent, but what is the nature of something which illumines that sun, which makes a sun the sun? What happens to my mind is all the other samskaras of the mind are destroyed. And what happens to me is I can, with the sattvic mind, experience, or I can claim and get the courage and the confidence to claim that Brahman as the truth behind the whole universe. That is Gayatri Mantra. That is so powerful. That power which is behind the sun is also there in my mind as the intellect. Like the sun is illumined, my intellect is also illumined by some entity which Upanishads reveal. I pray to that sun lord, Surya Devata, to illumine my intellect so that I can know that Atma in my own mind. Because the Upanishads again and again tell me, it is only in my mind I can know that Atma. I can claim that Atma. No other place. You can go to Himalayas, you can go anywhere else, but ultimately you have to deal with your own intellect to claim Atma. Aham Brahmasmi is a vritti, is a thought. That thought dispels all other thoughts which I have. So coming back to these notes, the sense organs, they receive the quality and they are monitored by a deity. If you understand this principle, it becomes very clear how the sense organs are functioning and how there are powers behind. For each of these sense organs, there are powers. And by praying to those powers, my sense organs can become better and better. But those are limited powers. What you have to go as a spiritual student is the limitless principle, which is called as Atma or Brahman. The gods represent higher spiritual values: love, tolerance, patience, kindness, charity, pity, sympathy. These are all values. If you have them, that means you have Daivi Sampad. Daivi Sampad, Asuri Sampad. Bhagavad Gita gives full details of this. Suppose you have hatred, prejudice, anger, jealousy, selfishness, egoism, vanity. You can analyze yourself. See which ones are there. That means you have demonic values, which means you have to purify the mind and come to realize this Atma. All of us are a mixture. Not that I don't become angry, not that I don't have love, not that I don't give charity, but we have a mixture of everything. That is why we are human beings. With the help of the eternal self, we tumble down into misconceptions and have a deluded conceit. That means what? Always Atma is there, whether we have any types of qualities in our mind. The seekers try to experience the truth as an object other than themselves. That is the problem. That is the obstacle. You should realize what is the obstacle you have. Each seeker has to analyze himself, his own mind, and say, what is my obstacle? Why I am not able to claim I am Atma, in spite of so much of studying for 25 years, Vedanta, there are some obstacles. Obstacles may be cleared in this Janma or the next Janma or in the future Janmas. But I have to understand what are those obstacles and Try to remove them. A repeated study of the Upanishad helps to remove those obstacles. The eye is blind without the eye explained by Agni or Vayu's failure. What it means is the sense organs are all controlled by devatas. Like we experience our sense organs or the mind, we cannot experience the Atma like that as an object. They are dependent on the life principle of every jiva, and the life principle of the whole Jagat is nothing but Atma. That is why the Mahavakyam comes in. Atma is Brahman. I am Atma, Brahma. Mandukya Upanishad. Tattvamasi, Chandogya Upanishad. Aham Brahma Asmi, Brahma Asmi. Everywhere that Brahma and Atma are connected. Till you are able to connect it, you will not be able to claim. And if you don't claim Atma as yourself, you will always be in bondage with your body and mind. This is a principle you should understand. Suppose you feel, I'm very, very worried, always ask the question, why am I bound? Is it because I'm identifying with my body or my mind? The answer will be yes. Whenever you are feeling sad, ask this question. As a student, spiritual student, you should ask this question, and I will give you a guarantee that you will find the answer to be extremely fulfilling. Same time when you feel the sadness, you will realize Atma. Because without Atma illumining the sad thoughts, the thoughts have no existence. Chapter 1 gives the definition, Anya devatat viditat atho aviditat adi. It is different from the known and the unknown. It is different from the manifest and it is different from the unmanifest. Why? Because it is the knower, the experiencer, the eliminator, the substratum. That is Atman. And that is me. That is the consciousness. Indra, the lord of sense organs, mind, also can't know. Indra is supposed to be the lord of the sense organs. All the sense organs are controlled by what? Mind. And mind, who controls the mind? The devata of the mind is Indra. It cannot know because that is only a passing appearance. When the mind approaches Atma, the vision of the Supreme disappears. So through the mind, you cannot try to realize Atma. Atma is like this, Atma is like this. No, I am that Atma. The quest disappears and may wrongly conclude that that truth or Yaksha is non-existent. You see, sometimes students, when they try to come to study the Upanishads, they say that, no, I have not really understood anything so far. And then they give up. And they say that this truth doesn't exist. Whatever Veda says, it's all something which doesn't exist. They give up the Vedas because they are trying to understand Atma through the mind rather than claiming it as themselves. I am Atma is the truth, and that is the only truth. Indra Sthiti is the pure, patient, sattvic mind, looks at the same spot where Yaksha and the mind disappears. So the awakened awareness of a yogi is called as aparoksha jnanam. You are a yogi if you understand that I am Atma. Atma is the illuminator of all experiences. waking, dream, sleep, and Atma continues. It is an invariable experiencer, changeless experiencer. What about the changing experiences? That all belongs to the, it belongs to the, it belongs to the mind. And if that is my nature, then how can I realize this pure Atma? And that is by studying the Upanishad and the mantras connected with the definition of Atma. A separative ego sense has hollow vanity. That means every time I feel I am so and so, you should drop that, and you should drop the ego, and you should say, this ego which I'm experiencing is not the ultimate truth. Moksha is that state of perfection where the time-space causality never gains any entry. Very important fact. See, when I claim Atma, when I close my eyes and I claim I am Atma, what happens is there is no time, there is no space, there is no objects. And what is it then? Pure awareness. Pure awareness without objects. That is Atma. Again and again, tell yourself this truth, that this is what is Atma. Then what happens? Then you will be always with that self. You will realize that I understand Atma to be perfect in a perfect way. Only by realizing that the self in us is the all pervading Brahman, then alone my delusion and sorrow will go away. See, many people ask this question, how will my sorrow go? Chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita clearly says sorrow goes only by understanding that Atma is the real self. That is why Lord Krishna in the second chapter itself taught Arjuna the nature of truth. Idol is the means, self-discovery is the goal. That idol which I see in a temple is only a means. Oh Lord, explain to me that how am I there in this earth? After some time, I'm not there on this earth. I see birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. I see it with my own eyes. I can't understand both the concepts. Can you explain to me what is behind all this? Behind birth and death is Atma. It is the knowledge of Atma is the heave you out of samsara and plunge into ourself. Our real truth is the means. The superconscious state is a state of God consciousness. When you say I am the awareness, it is God consciousness. It is a higher state. It is not in the realm of Jiva Jagat Ishvara. It is Paramarthika Satyam. The realm of Jiva Jagat Ishvara is a lower order of reality. You must understand this very clearly. Detaching and attaching is a technique of yoga. What is detaching? You detach from the identification that I am the body, mind. And what do you attach to? You attach to the principle of Atma, which is the independent principle. At this stage, When you have learned the Keno Upanishad and you have gone through this story, the story helps me to understand the nature of the truth lies beyond even the 5 elements. That is the essence of the story. In Tattva Bodha, we study the Pancha Bhutas in a very, very detailed fashion. This is the element, this is the property, this element comes from this element comes from this element. That is all there, but don't miss the truth. The truth is, that is not the essence. The essence is Atma. What is Atma? Beyond the 3 states, beyond the 5 koshas, beyond the 3 sharira. That is where you have to focus your attention. Upanishad focuses attention on that aspect. And the story also focuses and says, beyond the elements is this Atma. In that unknown world of new experience, why is it unknown? You have never ever lived as pure awareness. After repeated sessions of this strange experience of pure awareness, one guides easily into the Lord's space. That Paramarthika Swarupam is, you get into that Swarupam very easily. Like the waker goes to the dreamer, dreamer comes back to the waker. Same way, the realization of Atma happens. Very, very subtle change happens in you. It is a perceptible fruit of the study of Upanishads. It is a drishta phalam. When you study Upanishad, you glide into that pure awareness self. That is the brilliance of this Upanishad and the 3rd chapter. Okay? Now, if you have any questions on the 3rd chapter, we can go through it in our Q&A session. Remember, Keno Upanishad is a very, very subtle Upanishad. Very, very, you should go through this Upanishad so with such a fit mind. Then what happens? This truth is realized while listening to the talk. Shankaracharya's commentary clearly says that Aham Brahmasmi is not at a future time. Aham Brahmasmi is eternal truth. Eternal truth means what? Nitya Mukta Swarupaha. Repeat in meditation again and again this one sentence. Aham Nitya Mukta Swarupaha. Aham Nitya Mukta Swarupaha. Nitya Muktaha. Nitya Mukta means not yesterday I was free, not tomorrow I'll be free, not today I am free, I am ever free is the truth of Upanishads. One meditation which can glide you into this higher realm is Aham Nitya Mukta Swarupaha. Try it out. You will have success. Guarantee. One sentence. Forget about everything else. Aham Nitya Mukta Swarupa, while you're in meditation, you say that what happens is the impact of that thought, of that vritti, will take you beyond this realm of Vyavahara, which is Vyavaharika Satyam, but that is Paramarthika Satyam, which is eternal truth. This is a relative truth, but we are interested in the eternal truth. That is what is called as immortality. That is what is called as Amritatva Praptihi. That is what even the gods churned. They were eager to get this Amritatvam. Going beyond the mind, going beyond all limitations, to the limitless, beyond time, beyond space, beyond objects. is the realm of Atma, and it is the nature. Always remember, it's my nature. What is this body then? It is an incidental nature. For a few years. In infinitude, what is a few years? In 100 years, what are few seconds? Few seconds. Suppose you live 100 years. What are few seconds? You will not be bothered. Similarly, you are already experiencing that truth. Then this experiences which we have through the body and mind will not affect me at all. With that, I close the third chapter. I will enter the fourth chapter. The fourth chapter is a simple chapter, and it has got totally 9 verses. What are those verses? The essence behind the fourth chapter is the Upanishad knows for sure that all students are not Uttama Adhikari. Some are Madhyama Adhikari, some are Adho Adhikari. Middle, lower, higher. 3 types of students are there. For the highest student, first and second chapter is over. They walk out and that's it. They don't need the story of third chapter. They don't need the fourth chapter. But for middle people who are entering into spiritual study, who have just entered now, they will find the fourth chapter useful because it gives some upasanas, some meditation techniques to prepare the mind. The first verse, totally there are 9 verses. The first verse, Brahman, she acclaimed, is the Brahman's victory you have gained, then alone you understood the absolute spirit was Brahman. See, basically the first verse says that through the Brahman's greatness, you have achieved this greatness of the teaching. You have understood the Vedanta because of the greatness of the illuminator of this knowledge. So it starts with saying that there are higher principles which I don't know, which are responsible for my understanding of the truth. That is the Uma Devi, which is expressed in the story in the story. Uma Devi represents the teacher, the guru. Always a guru is important for Brahma Vidya. Without a guru, you cannot achieve, you cannot gain this Brahma Vidya. Everyone, whether in this birth or in the previous birth, you have had a guru. Some gurus, someone, whether it is Ramana Maharishi, whether it is anybody, he has had a guru. That is why you can know the truth. So this first verse is only saying that Yaksha is adorable. Similarly, Guru is adorable. Okay. Second verse. These gods, that means Agni, Vayu, Indra, they are supreme powers. They are powers. They have a lot of Shakti in them. And they were the first to know the higher truth, which is Brahman. When I pray to the gods, what happens? I also get that power which is there in the Devatas to know that higher truth. That is how the knowledge gets transferred. Indra, Agni, Vayu are the highest among all gods because they were the first to know Brahman. Whenever we get up from sleep, the mind knows its origin, which is Atma. and it recognizes Brahman. Yama, the Lord of Death, comes to know and becomes the teacher in Keno Upanishad to Nachiketa. See, in Keno Upanishad, Lord Yama, who is the Lord of Death, the principle which controls death of a body. That is what is the power. There is a power which brings life into the world, there is the power. There is a power which takes away the life out of this world. Okay? These are powers, invisible, adrishtam. So devatas are those who got this knowledge first. This is what is said in the second verse. Indra, the king of the heavens, approached that spirit nearest and was the first to know that Brahman. Similarly, aspirants should reach the same condition as Indra's Sthiti. What is Indra's Sthiti? Lord, the Devata Lord had the eagerness, had the humbleness, had the selflessness. He had the faith in himself to know that higher truth. That is called as Indra Sthiti. So all of us must get that Indra Sthiti, which means preparation of our mind. A sacred moment of vision of truth comes in flashes, so quick and sudden that meditator needs to be sharp and not to miss these moments of illumination. In our seat of meditation or in our time of this self-awareness, it comes, the vision comes to each one of us. I'm 100% sure each one listening to this talk has had a small glimpse of that truth, of that awareness. That awareness glimpse has come, it goes away, it comes and goes away. Whenever there is a thought in the mind, remember that thought is only manifestation of that truth, of that awareness principle, of that Atma principle. When your mind wakes up in the morning, as soon as you wake up in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever you've gone to sleep and your mind has woken up, remember that mind which is waking up is a representation of the substratum. Very, very important. Remember, that is the time you should never miss that moment of illumination. Fourth verse gives 4 upasanas. I told you this second section, this chapter 4, the last chapter, is basically the essence is it will teach us 4 upasanas. What are the 4 upasanas? The description of Brahman can be understood like a lightning, the splendor of the lightning. That is the first upasana, lightning upasana. It can be understood like the twinkling of the eye. You close and open your eyes, winking. This is another type of upasana. It's called as Adhyatma upasana. The first one is lightning. Lightning represents the Devata. It is Adi Deva upasana. The third upasana is the mind. Brahman as a thought. Aham Brahma Asmi. Fleeting nature of Brahman like Yaksha. The thought comes, it goes. Aham Brahmasmi, thought comes, it goes. Another thought will come, it goes. like a lightning which comes and goes, like a yaksha which came and went. Yaksha is a very it's a entity of the Devaloka. You can't explain it. You can only say it is yaksha. Tadvana upasana, that is the fourth upasana. Tadvana means this Brahman which we are talking, this Lord which is we are talking, the Lord of the whole universe is adorable to everybody because it is this Lord which controls the whole universe. Bhagavad Gita beautifully brings this out in 10th chapter and the 11th chapter. Lord Krishna brings out the vibhutis. In the 10th chapter, in the 11th chapter, he brings all these vibhutis under one umbrella, which is this consciousness. When we worship Mahatmas, the namaskara goes to Brahman and not to the body of the Jiva. That Mahatma is talking about the higher principle. So every time when we do a namaskara, it means that we are doing namaskara to the principle on which that jnani is standing on. Jnani is a person, Swami is a person who is standing on the pedestal of truth, which is Brahman. Lightning and winking, these are unique experiences which we have. In a lightning, in a split second, you will see the world is experienced. And again, immediately the world goes into darkness. Suppose it's raining in the night, and suddenly the night, there is lightning outside. What happens? Suddenly you see that portion of your house, outside your house, suddenly it will get lit up. And then it will go into darkness again. Again, it gets lit up, again, it goes into darkness. Similarly is this consciousness. Whenever our mind wakes up, we are able to experience the universe. Whenever the mind goes away, it is this universe which we experience in the sleep state, it goes away like the lightning, which manifests, unmanifests the world around. It draws the attention before we know it, and it is gone. Darkness before, briefly brightened, darkness again in both lightning and winking. Winking also same thing happens. You try winking, you'll find suddenly everything becomes dark. Nothing is there. Again, you open your eyes, again everything is there. Similarly, mind is like that. Like the winking, like the lightning. If you understand this concept, what will happen to you? You get the sharpness of the intellect to understand that consciousness principle and claim with complete confidence, I am that Brahman, I am that Atman. This is to show Brahman is a manifestation in the cosmic powers, in the lightning power, in Bhagavad Gita, many times Lord Krishna brings out this point very, very well. Rasomya vapsu kaunteya. In the Prithvi you see me. In the Suryaha you see me. In the rivers you see me. In the macrocosm, in the stars, in the planets, everywhere you see me alone. That me is what? Consciousness. In Taittiriya Upanishad, this verse comes in the 3rd chapter. And this meditation is given on the rain, the power of lightning, the power of cattle, the power of light in the stars. Where is it coming from? How does the offspring come? Where is the power behind the birth of a child? How? What power is that? Power of consciousness. Immortality and joy in the organs of procreation, and all what is there in the space, everything, all these powers is nothing but the power of one entity, which we call it as Brahman. Brahman is only something, it's just a name, but the moment you understand the essence behind that, you will know that it is the truth. Regarding the description from the point of view of the manifestation as Atman within the body, one thinks Brahman by the mind and one wills the Brahman. See, Brahman is there in the microcosm, which is the body. Brahman is there in the macrocosm, which is the entire universe. Macro and micro. In every Upanishad, this is the way the truth is revealed. Individual and totality. The theory of perception in Vedanta is explained as follows. The mind is alive. When the mind is alive, then what happens? That consciousness which is behind the mind, then it flows through the sense organs to the object. So then what happens? The mind takes the form of the objects and becomes the possessor of that knowledge. In technical language, it is called as vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. I won't go into the detail. For those students who know it, that's what I'm trying to explain. So mind is doped with tamas in deep sleep state. How does deep sleep state happens? It is tamas. It is a property of the guna in the mind. So mind is the hall where desire prompted thoughts are dancing their eternal dance till the end of the life. Right from birth to death, what is happening in our mind? I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. That's all. The sea never can be without the waves. Mind is never without the thoughts. It's always there with the thoughts. Moment we get up, thoughts emerge. There is a movement between two thoughts when mind is empty. When mind is not there, the yogi experiences the flashy experience of the truth, only guided by the Upanishads. Suppose you are not in touch with the Upanishads, you will never even think about awareness. Awareness is like a lightning moment of experience of truth in the early stages of meditation. Brahman is in the form of Chaitanya. I'm just summarizing some of the thought processes which we have discussed. Brahman is in the form of Chaitanya principle, the knowing principle which is there in the mind. Every thought reflects consciousness, awareness. Like a mirror can reflect your face, every thought reflects that consciousness. That is the nature of the mind. That is the nature of consciousness. Like a mirror, it is shiny. A stone cannot reflect your face, but a mirror can. So perception, how does it take place? This is the way Dakshinamurti Stotram explains this. A clip is illumined by light, thoughts illumined by consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the Prakasha Tattva. That is how a clip is illumined. How does the consciousness become manifest? Consciousness manifests because of the thoughts. The thoughts are revealing what? Thoughts reveal consciousness. That revelation of consciousness is called as manifestation. It is called as abhivyaktittva. In a dead body, there are no thoughts. There is no manifestation of consciousness. Manifestation is not there, but ultimately, same thing happens in a table also. In all inert substances, the consciousness does not manifest. What does this prove? Mind is required for consciousness. That is the way Lord created this whole universe. Consciousness is eternally there, always there. That is why it is nitya. But what about objects which, what is the first object? The mind. What is the second object? My own body. After that, body and mind comes, I then experience the whole world. Mind helps me to remember Brahman through the thoughts. Very important sentence. Person visualizes Brahman in every thought. In sleep, there are no thoughts, no world in unmanifest condition. Okay? This is just a summary of how the mind works. The next verse, the sixth verse, is an elaboration of Tadvanam, the glory of Brahman. The one who is to be worshipped as Atma of all living beings is called as Tadvanam. Upasana helps me to develop concentration and expansion of the mind. These are the two benefits of meditation. Number one, concentration. Number two, expansion. Bhakti path, Bhakti marga, given by Vyasa through the Puranas, 18 Puranas are also there. They give Vyasacharya, who wrote the Bhagavad Gita. When we study the Puranas, Purana study is a very difficult study. It's it requires a different mindset. But it helps one to expand the mind and concentrate the mind. Meditation on the glory of this truth. You see, this pure consciousness appears as this whole universe. Therefore, you can meditate on the glory. By meditating on the glory, the mind gets the power to pervade everywhere and vitalize every being. That means what happens to the mind? You see, the mind has to know that it is this one all-pervading entity. It vitalizes everything in the universe, including the Pancha Mahabhutas and the entire universe along with the body. It's not that only when not only my body, mind is illumined by Atma, it is the entire universe. Kshetrajnam chapi mam veddi sarva kshetreshu bharata. 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, it is one Kshetrajna, one illuminator. Therefore, this Lord is adorable. Whenever we worship a Mahatma, the Namaskara goes to that Brahman, but it is not, doesn't go to the body of that individual. That is what is the essence of the sixth mantra. This is a very beautiful mantra. It's Shankara writes a very beautiful commentary on this. After listening to all this, the student is saying, sir, teach me what is the saving knowledge? What is the knowledge essence of this Upanishad? Teacher says, I have already given you the essence of the teaching in chapter 1 and 2. I have already taught you Brahman. That is the ultimate, which has been taught to you in this first and second chapter. Shankaracharya, this question and answer, the relevance of this question and answer is a big commentary by Shankaracharya. For those who are interested, please refer to my notes later. I'm still writing that commentary. As we are going through it now, I'm writing a commentary on this particular verse, but it's a very interesting commentary. What it really means is that this question and answer is only trying to tell us one important point which Shankaracharya says. He says that all other sadhanas, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Japa, all that are only for the preparation of the mind to make my mind ready for the knowledge to claim Brahman. Once the mind is fit and is ready, that fit mind, when the guru tells the student Tat Tvamasi, you are that Brahman, then that student says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, I am Atma Brahman, I will meditate on this Atma as my true self for the rest of my life. So, Shravanam alone, understanding alone gives moksha. This is a brilliant commentary on this verse written by Shankaracharya. I'm just giving you the essence. Essence is what? Understanding I am Atma, claiming I am Atma alone gives me the final benefit of Upanishadic study, which is moksha. I am free here and now. I am free here and now. While listening, you say, I am free. I am not the mind. I am not the body. I am the awareness. First understanding. The second understanding is, I don't need anything else. I don't need meditation. I don't need anything else. This alone gives me the freedom. Understanding alone gives me the freedom. I don't need nirvikalpa samadhi. Nothing else is required. Pure understanding of the pure awareness principle is the essence of teaching. 8th verse. There are disciplines which are required for preparation of mind. Tapo, damaha, karma is the pratishta for the Veda. The Veda stands on austerity, restraint, and dedicated work. Self-control is tapaha. What is tapaha? It is physical denial of the indriyas. I will take extra 5 to 7 minutes to finish the 9th verse also. Please bear with me extra 5 minutes today. Tapaha is a discipline. Damaha is a discipline. What is damaha? Damaha is the courage to refuse the bodily desires. What is karma? Karma means japa, dana, satsanga. These are all actions. All these three are disciplines for making my mind fit. Without self-control, self-perfection is not possible. The truth is the abode. Satyam is the abode of truth. Satyam means the truthfulness, living a life of truthfulness. Sadhaka must align his body, thought, and action. Thought, word, and action. What he thinks, what he speaks, and what he does. All three should be aligned. This is called Arjavam in Bhagavad Gita. If I have these discipline, then I can accept the truth. Atma is my real Swarupa. The last verse is a Phalashruti again. Those who know this truth, they are established in Brahman in the highest blissful state. There is no other state higher than this. A jnani is the one who knows Brahman, who knows the truth, and he has accepted that this is the essence of the whole universe. To know Brahman is to become Brahman. It is in ignorance of our real nature, we live agonizing days of choking limitations and delusions. So ignorance about this truth, about which is called as Mula Vidya, that is why we have delusions in life. See, all of us, our mind is the most unique thing which we need to become aware of. If you become aware of your mind, you have got control over everything else. We must know the real nature of Atma, which is like the rope in a snake, to get away from the delusions of the snake. So delusions of the snake are compared to the delusions in our mind. And Atma is compared to the illuminator of the mind. Like, for example, if suppose somebody has a necklace in her, a chain in her own neck, and she's searching the whole world, how will it be? So similarly, when we have Atma within ourselves and we are searching the whole universe, that is what is called as delusion. It is the soul which is called as the mind plus consciousness, which is the misunderstanding in a jiva. It is this soul which is undergoing agitations and sorrows. Why? Because it has lost its godhood. The journey of a jiva is freedom. The journey of a jiva is freedom from the sorrows and agitations which he is facing. Godhood ever lies within himself as himself. With this knowledge of Atma from Keno Upanishad, one becomes that higher Brahman. And the last part of it is comparison of Atma with the world. Atma is ever self-evident. It can't be known and need not be known because it is always of the experience of the illuminator. When experiences are there in Jagrat, consciousness is evident. When experiences are not there in Sushupti, consciousness is evident. Absence of experience is known because of the ever-evident Atma. Atma is the light always illumined. Like the sun, the spiritual light in us is always there. Consciousness is evident when you don't use the sense organs and even before operation of sense organs. These are all very important facts. There is a lot of truth in each sentence here. The absence of sense organs is evident because of consciousness principle in the sleep state. Before mental operations begin, Atma is known, it is existing. The blank state of the mind is also known because of consciousness. That is all we should, this is the nature of Atma. What is the world? World is known because of the operation of sense organs. That is what we call it as Jagat. Jagat means what? Unless the sense organs are there, there is no Jagat. The light of Atma illumines the sense organs. Owning up that light of consciousness is the aim of Brahma Vidya. It is the aim of Upanishad. Owning up requires thought in the mind, and that is in Jagrat Avastha. Always remember, I study Upanishads in Jagrat Avastha. I claim I am Brahman in Jagrat Avastha. I cannot do that in any other Avastha. It is here and now. I am Atma, I am Atma, I am Nitya Mukta Atma. Don't forget the sentence of Keno Upanishad. I am Nitya Mukta Atma Swarupaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnah Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Next Saturday is the 13th of May. I am traveling outside Singapore on the 15th. So I have 1 week before I leave town. I have finished Keno Upanishad today. If you have any questions on this entire Keno Upanishad, you let me know. I will, next week, next Saturday on the 13th, we will have a session. We will go through, I will not take any other new Upanishad next week. I'll go through the Keno Upanishad. Either I will take the Bhashyam, some portion of the Bhashyam, or I will take from the Aparoksha Anubhuti of Keno Upanishad. I have not decided what I will do next week. We'll leave it open. But from 15th of May to 15th of June, there will be no classes. Please understand. Please take a note of this. There will be no classes for 1 month because I'm traveling. The next Upanishad which I will take after this will be, I'm tossing myself between Mandukya Upanishad and Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashyam notes are available, and I will probably take Taittiriya Upanishad. I will finish Taittiriya and then go to Mandukya. After Mandukya, I will take Katha Upanishad. These are the 3 Upanishads which I have in mind now. They are very powerful Upanishads, all 3. Very beautiful Upanishads, Taittiriya, Mandukya, Katha Upanishad. Okay, this is the what we will study. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. But this is the overall program. Taittiriya Upanishad, Panchakosha Viveka. That is what we will be studying next Upanishad. Okay, we have finished Kaivalya Upanishad, we have finished Mundaka Upanishad, and now we have finished the Keno Upanishad. 3 Upanishads are over. We are going to do 3 more Upanishads, which is Taittiriya, Mandukya, and Katha Upanishad. 3 lovely Upanishads. Again, the truth will be explained another way. Okay, thank you. I will just go through the chat now. If you have any questions, the first thing is, Manikandan, we realize that I am Atma in the waking state. After realizing, you say, why we cannot realize the Atma in dream state? No. That is how God created the universe. See, this how God created the universe, you should know. Why I don't, okay, I'll explain to you. Even though the same intellect is active in dream state, why it is not remembering its in dream state? Also, will the realization waking state influence the causal state? Okay. See, what is happening is, you should understand the structure of the world and the structure of the universe. How my body is created, why my heart is pumping, why am I breathing, why my mind is throwing up thoughts, why my legs can walk, why my hands can grasp. All this is, there is no answer. There is no answer to that. This is the way the creation is. In this creation, I have to understand my nature. In the Jagrata Avastha, the mind is in sattvic state. It can understand the truth. What is the difference? Okay, you will get a deeper meaning when we do the Mandukya Upanishad. You will understand the difference between waking and dream and sleep. You'll get to know the real answer to your question in Mandukya Upanishad. But I will still try to give you an answer now. A very simple answer is, see, in the waking state, Shastra is available to us. I have Shastra. And I can willfully take a verse from the Upanishad, study the Gita or Upanishad or Brahma Sutra and understand. In the dream state or in the sleep state, is it possible? Do I have the willpower in the dream state? Impossible. Dream is a dream. It is just comes and goes. There is no will involved. It is an automatic phenomenon. So that will answer your question why I can't why I can't have this knowledge in the dream state. Dream state is it's like how the universe of how the planets are created, how this entire universe is created. But see, basically, what you're saying is it is the same intellect which is there in the dream also, but why can't it realize itself? It is not the intellect which is realizing. You should understand that's where you're making a mistake. You should understand you are talking about awareness, which is consciousness. It is an independent existing entity. Mind is dependent on this consciousness. Mind comes and goes, appears, disappears. It has got, mind has got a restful state in which it doesn't know itself or the world. You are asking, the doubt is primarily coming because you are identified with the body as a self. Drop that identification and say, I am the Atma, which is different than the body. Then your question will not be there, because you will see, that is where you should understand the realms, the two realms, Vyavaharika Satyam, Pratibhasika Satyam, Paramarthika Satyam. Dream is Pratibhasika, reflected awareness in the mind. Vyavaharika Satyam, the sense organs are active. Therefore, the Vyavahara can take place between the sense organs and the and the world. The I, what is the realization? I am awareness. This awareness, what is the realization? I am the awareness in which nothing else is there. That is the ultimate truth. You need to understand a little bit more about the Atma itself, then this question will be answered clearly. So in the dream state also, what is there? Atma is there alone, always, as Paramarthika Satya. In the waking state also, what is there? Atma is there alone. That is the truth. That is the realization. The truth is not that I'm seeing a dream, I'm seeing the waking. It is a relatively lower order of reality. It's like a dreamer and the waker. See, I'm just trying to explain to you this question in such a way that you are able to pick up the higher truth. See, in the dream, the dreamer is asking, why can't the waker also think about this dream? So similarly, in all states, what is common is, okay, let me go back to the teaching. The teaching is consciousness is the truth. In every state, in all the states, consciousness is consciousness. The mind is woken up, mind goes to sleep, mind does activity. It is a lower order of reality. Take that as the message and keep on meditating on this. Your answer will be clear. Is moksha avastha available only in waking state? No, it is not an avastha. It is a moksha. It's not an avastha. It is swarupa. There is a difference between avastha and swarupaha. Swarupaha is eternally there. Changelessly it is there. Fire is hot all the time. At any time you touch fire, it will burn. Similarly, consciousness, Atma, at any time it will be conscious. It will be either aware of the body, mind, and the world in the waking. Dream, only mind, sleep when neither body, mind are there. This is the nature of Atma. Moksha is not an avastha. It is not time bound. Avastha means it is time bound. It's a good question, very good question, but it's got a lot of deeper answers to be given. I will stop with this answer right now, but very nice question. Contemplate on it. It's a good question. Moksha, this is where your knowledge about moksha comes in. The knowledge of moksha also has to be extremely clear because it's a very subtle topic. And the more, even I didn't understand, I used to have similar questions when I was studying the Upanishads before, but all those questions are resolved now when I understand the nature of Atma. Atma is always an illuminator. I am, I am, I am, I am. Hold on to that I am. That's all. Right now, hold on to that I am. All of you can do that. It is possible. All the previous people who have studied Upanishads, they have gone through holding that Atma as the self. As the self. I am ever free. Awareness, as awareness, I am free. As body, I am not free. As mind, I am eternally bound to the body. Vinay, what he is asking is, if I constantly meditate claiming I am Atma, then if I realize it, how the state would be? Oh my God. That is what is called as moksha. That is what is called as Nitya Mukta Swarupa Atma. It is not a state, but it is my nature. Nature can never be taken away from me. Whether I like it or not, I am this Atma. I mistake myself to be the mind and I suffer. I mistake myself to be the body which is just appearing in the waking state. It will go away in the dream and the sleep state. Again and again, I'm repeating the same truth which is explained in Mandukya Upanishad. Just wait for Mandukya a little bit more. You will, all these questions, you will really get answered. There's a lot of truth in Mandukya Upanishad. Shama, the awareness of Brahman or supreme consciousness necessarily assumes a temporary state of egolessness. Yes. The coat which I wear all the time and sometimes I throw away because it's tiresome or disgusting. Active awareness Brahman through active seeking trigger twinkling of light. Okay, it's a good remark. So what you're saying, Shama, is when you have a firm and a clear knowledge of Atma as consciousness, as eternally changeless consciousness. Very, very important. When that, see, this is where Shankaracharya's commentaries are a great help. Again and again, he says, have clarity in that Atma. When you assume that consciousness as the self, then what you're saying is the truth. You're wearing that coat. That coat is of waker, dreamer, sleeper, together called as ego. That ahamkara, I, which again and again tells, I am in this body, I am in this body. What we are doing from this study, study of Keno Upanishad is that I which is attached to the body and it is thinking that it is the eternal absolute truth, it realizes it is not that absolute truth. Absolute truth is the consciousness in which this waker is coming and going. The dress is worn by consciousness for a small, you see, when you take from the level of consciousness, actually it is not actual wearing of a dress, but it is a seeming wearing. Seemingly it wears this dress for a certain amount of time, Seeming means what? It reflects it. It is the nature of Atma to make this phenomena become alive, the waking, dream, and sleep. So, taking what you are trying to do is you are taking yourself as the body-mind complex and saying yes. From that, it is what you're saying is true. I wear this coat of this body, physical body, and I remove it. I wear it every day in the waking, I remove it in the sleep, but I exist. That is the way you should go step in step, but this is the beginning step. It is not the ultimate step. The ultimate step is that awareness is always there. There is no, from that point of view, the world is only is only a lower order of reality. Like what? Like the waker and the dream. For the waker, the dream is not real, but for the dreamer, the dream is real. For the waker, super waker who has woken to Atma, the waking is like a dream. That is the difference. That is the difference of which knowledge brings to your mind. The moment this clarity, first it comes, second is you are able to confidently, with courage, hold that clarity as Swarupa. If that happens, this is exactly what Shankaracharya repeats again and again, that you must get that purity of mind to get this knowledge first. Get this knowledge. That is what he calls it as jnanam. Jnanam is the light of Atma is struck, it lights up in your mind. That light, once it is risen, it can remove the darkness. All your doubts about the wrong notions your mind has been entertaining. I am this, I am that, all the roles you play is not the real self. This is what is the difference between a jnani and a jnani. A jnani, he also lives in the same world, but when he is walking on the road, he is not thinking that I am the doer, I am the walker, I am this. See that difference, Bhagavad Gita brings it out beautifully. Anyway, that is a different topic altogether. I will, yeah, Shama, you want to ask something? Okay, I will have to unmute everybody, but let me finish this with Mariam. Can you please repeat from which text is Aham Nityam Muktam Atma Swarupaha? Okay, it is a general conclusion derived from all the Upanishads. Aham Nitya Mukta Atma, you can say it can come from Taittiriya Upanishad, because that is where it talks about Satyam. Anyway, when it comes to Satyam, this aspect of Nityam will also come. So it's basically from Taittiriya Upanishad. Manikandan, okay, can I be unmuted? Okay, just give me a minute. Shama, is there a stage of sadhakas or seekers' life where one is in no man's island, uncomfortable place, the dark night of the soul, almost lost, bearing in the reference of material world? Yes, what you're saying is true. There is a stage in one's life then when, see, this usually happens to sadhakas, to seekers, because see, what happens is you suddenly have realized some truth about yourself. The mind is trying to understand this truth as the truth. At the same time, the mind is facing the world. Now, when the mind is facing the world, there could be this uncomfortable experiences which can come. But it is a passing phase. It is just, it is not something which you should be bothered about. I will probably be able to understand and reply to you more when I listen to you. So Shanmugam will unmute everybody now. And now you will be able to ask questions. And also, if my answer is not clear, you can ask your questions by just unmuting yourself, and then you can explain to me what you do not understand.
Thank you, Shekuji.
Yeah, Shama, go ahead.
So in the first question, which I was asking, so there are two processes which is happening when you are doing the spiritual seeking. One is a passive phenomena. So for example, when you are going through for whatever reason, you're going through a very deep state of vairagya, whatever may be the triggers for it. And that is very helpful in a way, because actually it pushes you nearer to your seeking anyway. But that's passive, isn't it? That's a passive phenomenon.
It is a passive phenomenon. Yes, it is not, you shouldn't continue that too long.
Yeah, and the other one is the active one, which we are doing through the satsanga, through the shamadama, all that processes is, we're doing the active phenomena, isn't it? So there are two processes in which, so thank you for that.
So let me explain a little bit further on this. Atman Jnanam takes place in understanding Atma. So it is always an active phase. It is never a passive phase. So passive phase is only for the development of the mind to receive this knowledge. That's all. Don't give too much importance to it. The importance must be given to your listening. While in the class, when you're listening to the description of Atma as Nitya Mukta Swarupaha, it means I am free from my mind, I am free from my body, here and now. I am not at all affected by the body or the mind. This knowledge, again I repeat, this knowledge, I am Asanga Swarupaha, is the cause of moksha. It is the cause of freedom. Vairagyam is only a stepping stone. If you have gone through the phase, it doesn't matter. It happens. It's a part and parcel of preparing the mind to receive this knowledge. The moment you have received this knowledge, what happens is you have suddenly a feeling, I'm free. I am free because it is the Upanishad which is telling me I'm awareness. It happens in the class, it happens while Shravanam is taking place. Yep. In Shankaracharya's commentary, this is the most salient point which he brings about. He says again and again, you don't need other, you don't need to sit in meditation or have any other new experience or exotic experience. You don't need any other experiences of the truth. The truth is only one very simple truth. It is I am free. I am free. Yeah.
So even in the non-meditative stage, as we are moving around with all the knowledge that we are obtaining through the study of the Upanishads, there is, your constant refrain which you're talking about, the Sakshi Chaitanyam. So we are keeping that as a very strong alert, which is helping. So if my mind is thinking this thought or that thought, I can say, oh, this is my mind which is saying this is very pleasant.
Yes.
This is very unpleasant. So
that's not right. Yes.
So it's literally kind of throwing it away. Neither good or bad.
What you do is you attend to that, whatever needs to be attended at the physical level, at a vyavahara level, you attend to it.
Attend to it, but
whenever you are taking action,
yeah,
it is a result of your conclusion of your mind.
Yeah.
It is,
But for
yeah, you are thinking about something in your mind and you conclude and you take action. Again,
yes.
you are thinking something in your mind. Every action is followed, is preceded by a conclusion in your mind.
Yeah. Say, for example, if I am in a particular situation and I am feeling whether pleasant or unpleasant, immediately my mind should be able to say, this is my mind which is thinking it is pleasant or unpleasant.
Yes.
Actually, neither of it is true.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. All they say to see, this is where the concept of mithya should be clear. The concept of mithya is it is experienced by the mind, but it is not the truth.
Yeah.
It is not a fact.
So in other words, we are doing something very nice guarding, which is at the level of the perception alone, so leave alone having afterthoughts about it. At the perception alone, I have said, it's neither this nor that. So that's one useful thing for learning that.
Okay.
The second part you've already explained to me about the dark night of the soul, which is necessarily one has to go through it.
Yes.
It almost looks like you're in an alien world, the world that you've known so far. It doesn't feel real anymore. And you think, so how do I actually now, whether you have to reframe, do you have to make new rules, new
nothing. You don't make any rules. Let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Do you make rules for the next dream world? No. Dream will come and dream will go. Don't make any rules at all for the waking world. You will miserably fail.
Now, this is why it's an important question for me.
Yeah, you will miserably fail because the world which we experience is controlled by a lot of factors. And that is where the law of prarabdha karma comes in. It is completely uncontrollable, and it is you can never understand that the reality behind it. You cannot understand why it happens like this. That is why it is called as Maya.
So how do I safeguard myself? Because obviously the world in which I live around, which I'm talking mainly about relationships, things never affect us. It's only people who affect, people and relationships. Things are absolutely fine. There is no controversy about it. But it is about relationships and our interactions with relationships. That's where the usual situations are. So people are used to, obviously, I can't sit and explain to myself that, look, I have a different worldview and different view of how I view the world and life and all, just because I'm studying Vedanta. It's a pointless exercise, I feel, because nobody understands it. And I feel I'd be just wasting my time and energy. So you wouldn't say that's a useful thing. How should one react? Sorry,
you accept whatever is coming to you as given to you.
At that particular moment, whatever, I'm believing that there will be some divine guidance which will tell me, do this.
Accept it, and to the best of your ability, attend to the situation, whatever is coming.
And I just to have that faith that I will be guided.
Correct. You will have the faith that I will go through this, and it will come, it will go. Accept it as given to you. That is what is called as karma phalam. It is karma phala data. That is the Ishvara which is giving this situation to you. See, there are 25 people in this class who are listening to this class, and everybody's situation, everybody's surroundings, and everybody's relationships with the world is different. But we are talking about not this Vyavaharika state in the Upanishad we study. What we are saying is there is a higher truth. drop this, like again and again, I'm saying, like how from a dream you come to the waker, from the waker, understand that Upanishad is gliding me into a higher state. Let me focus to remain, to be focused on that state again and again in my life and conduct my vyavahara as it comes.
As it comes, just like in a dream, I cannot control my dream.
Don't control. You can't control your dream. You can't control your waking. You can't control your sleep. You can't do that.
Except that over a period of time, it becomes less and less.
Yes, it becomes less impact on your mind. See what?
That's less impact, yeah.
The impact of the waking world becomes less and less because of your study of Vedanta.
Correct.
There is no other magic. There is nothing else happening to the mind except the words of the scriptures coming to you again and again in your spiritual study.
Chandrasekhar ji, Vishal here.
Yeah, Vishal.
Is moksha happening or doing? My first question. And
Vishal, 1 second. Shama, have I finished with you?
Yes, thank you very, very much. Yeah,
okay.
It's very
Vishal,
useful.
Yeah, thank you. Vishal, go ahead.
Sir, is a moksha or enlightenment or whatever we call it, is it a happening or a doing? And is everything
it is not
predestined?
Happening, it is not a doing. Happening and doing takes place in the Vyavaharika level. Vyavaharika level, whenever you say it's a happening or a doing, it is time bound. And therefore, this is moksha is not a happening. It is not that this point you're raising is extremely important. You must be clear in this. Moksha is not a happening in time. It is beyond time.
What my question is that, sir, that how much effort we may do, how much ever, but ultimately it is the blessing of the Brahman which will make it ultimately happen. So it's more.
You can call it blessing or you can call it understanding. You see, with a purified mind, if you go through these talks, then you will have the confidence to say, I am Brahman. With a anadhikari mind, that means you're still not fit for that knowledge yet. You see, your mind is still not ready to accept this truth. Then what happens is, then you will have this question which you have right now in your mind. See, it is a question of your mind tossing up with this idea about this Brahman. Is it truth, not truth? It's still dangling in that state. Therefore, you are still feeling that it could be a state, and you don't know it could be in the future and all that. That is why the study of Vishal, I would like you to go through the commentaries of Shankaracharya on this Keno Upanishad. Your questions are extremely deep questions. You will get answers to those questions in this commentary.
Just one more question, sir, about destiny and free will. Sir, in my personal life, sir, I've always felt that I've had no free will. And even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjun that don't get so this thing. I make Kal Banke already. I have killed these people. So basically, what I understand is that this eternal Brahman, everything is happening simultaneously, eternally everywhere. So therefore, like we mentioned, there is no time, but everything is happening simultaneously, and it has already happened. There is no future. There is no past. In fact, there is no presence also. I mean, this is what I it's just there, and it's just happening, and especially no future. So therefore, the future has also happened. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. That there is no the time thing which we feel that it is going to happen in the future has already happened. This is my understanding, sir.
Yeah, that's correct. Vishal, this is the question. Everybody in this class would love to have answers to this question because it's a very interesting question about fate and free will. It's a very, very big topic. Your understanding is correct. Please have this understanding and keep continuing your experiences the way it comes.
Thank you, sir.
See, whatever comes in the way of life in our life tomorrow, in our lives the next hour, whatever comes to our life, whatever may come, a phone call may come, which will change your actions. Anything coming to our life, you always take it as given to me. That is what I was explaining to Shama also. It is given to me. There is some law which tells me that this thing should happen with me at this point of time.
So what I'm doing is I'm living every moment as if I had chosen it.
You're living as if not you are choosing it, but it is given to you. It is not you have chosen it. It is God. There is a law which gives it to you.
Right, sir. And we accept it and surrender to it.
Correct. You accept it as a fact. You have to work on it, and what you have to do is while living, while you have to act on it.
Right.
You say I have the total free will to act on it. And do the best.
And then just accept whatever happens after that. Yeah. And accept whatever happens after that.
Accept whatever happens. Okay. See, many situations are there in your life, everybody's life. You may have acted in a certain way and suddenly you feel maybe I shouldn't have acted like that. But what you should say is, I acted that way because I saw the situation that way and full stop. Don't keep on looking at the previous action and keep on commenting on that. That is what people do and that is what you should avoid.
So no complaining, no resisting to life, go with the flow of life, accept every moment the way it comes.
Exactly.
Without any complaint, judgment, and expectation.
That's correct.
And अपने कर्म करो, फल की चिंता नहीं करो, फल जो भी मिलेगा उसको accept कर लो जैसा मिला. And thinking that जो भी हुआ अच्छे के लिए हुआ, जो भी कुछ हो रहा है अच्छे के लिए हो रहा है, जो भी कुछ होएगा अच्छे के लिए होएगा.
Beautiful. You have said it extremely well. Very good. Everything, you know, what Lord Krishna will say, you have said it exactly. Okay, Venkatesh is asking the question, how to understand Agni Vayu reach close to manifestation of the Supreme? See, what we should learn is that Indra got the knowledge and then Indra passed on that knowledge to Agni and Vayu. In the story, what it says is that Agni tried to get what is that knowledge of Brahman, tried, but it failed. Vayu also tried, but it failed. It reached close means what? Close to manifestation of Supreme means what? It went near that Yaksha to check and it examined what the Yaksha is. And it tried to say that I can control that Yaksha, which it couldn't. Similarly, when we try to control that consciousness, not possible. So the lesson from this is that it is that consciousness is the ultimate controller of the whole universe. I mean, I can just put it in words, but then ultimately this comes because of the knowledge of Atma only. So, Venkatesh, I would like you to go through this story again, through the notes, through the other commentaries. Then I hope I have answered your question here.
Yeah, if I could just elaborate on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just trying to wonder, is it something like when my understanding of the reality is at a higher level, is that what it means that I reach closer to the Supreme?
Yes, it is. Absolutely right. When you, Venkatesh, as a person is trying to understand that Atma, that the journey of the human mind towards this Atma is the journey of the Jiva towards the higher self. That is how Upanishad clearly tells us that when you come to Atma Vidya, you are seeking the truth. You are trying to understand who am I. And you're trying to understand that I am not this body or mind, that is a lower order of reality. It will go through its roles as a mother, as a father, as a brother. Whatever comes, like Vishal was saying, let it come, I will go through it. But then now I'm gliding towards the higher truth. The higher truth is the Atman. Your mind is saying, I'm tired of the world. Let me understand, is there something in the world? That is what is the journey of a jiva. Many people ask the question, how come I come into this class? How come I come into this discussions? It is given to me. I am destined to come here, listen to the Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads. It is a law of nature. It brings the people to this through some different means. So, to answer your question, yes, it is the mind trying to unravel the mystery of its own self. The mind gives up the lower nature of vasanas and glides into something which is beyond time and space and vasanas. Am I making some sense?
Yeah, right. Thanks.
Thank you. Bharat, you have said something here. Okay. Can you explain to me what you're saying, Bharat?
Hello, Shakaji. Namaskar. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was listening to chapter 3, the story, and I was just thinking, I had this thought that, gods are godlike, demons are demon-like, and the two can't be mixed. Otherwise, the god wouldn't be a god, it would be a demon. But as a jiva, you can have any of those qualities. And the fact that you can have any of those qualities or none of them, the fact that it's revealed, the fact that the contrast can be revealed, it's a blessing to be a jiva. So no matter kind of whatever you're going through, the fact that you're revealing it is directly a pointer which Keno Upanishad chapter 1 and 2 is talking about.
Good, very good, Bharat. I think your understanding is very right. Chapter 1 and 2 are concluding with the teaching, which means there is a awareness principle which is central to the entire cosmos and central to you. What you are saying is that awareness principle is a blessing which in whose light you are able to see the Devata Swarupam and the Asura Swarupam in your own mind.
Correct.
Which is a blessing.
Yes. I can only do that as a jiva. It can only happen to be born as a jiva. If you're born as a god, then great. But you'd only see the godlike properties. It'll be harder. It'll be harder to take on board.
Yeah, that's correct.
This knowledge. Same for being a demon. It would be harder.
Yeah.
So to have your life as it is, to be here right now, to question it is a wrong path. Like to just accept it, the absurdity of it. It's a delight.
Yes, it's a very beautiful way you have said it, Bharat, and I appreciate what you're saying. That is the nature of Atma Swarupa. You're right. Thank you, Bharat, for bringing this understanding into the discussion. Anybody else has a question?
Ariom Shekharji, Vijaya this
Yeah,
side.
Vijaya, go ahead.
Very, very fantastic. Today, I think it's a fantastic discussion and a very great session. Many dimensional phenomenon had come through in today's session. Oh, one is on. Someone needs to go on. But yeah, I think what I have understood, a little journey that I've had here is I gave a tough fight with all my situations till I felt I was coming emergent and succeeding in it. Over a period of time, I realized the problems to come not because for you to deal with it, problems to come for you to envision, as Bharat said, in the demon in you. These are called the angularities, and walk through it. And the situations are also posed to me to understand that Daivatam factor, or the God in me, which gives me strength to fight the demon. So that can happen only when I'm a human being. And the realization that I have is I am neither creator of the problems, nor I have control to solve it. So these sessions which I attend actually give me realization of what are those strengths and negativities that I have, and use those strength in me to work on those weaknesses. And I've also realized from especially today's session is that when problems are small, we don't have we don't have many complaints, and problems becomes too big. Also, we don't have any complaints, because it's like, I have cancer. I've got nothing else to do but to die. So when I really accept that fact in me, then I have grown above my mundane realities and say, look, at the absolute level, I am this God. So all this is only to the body, as Shama rightly said, right? So and Vinayji, I'm not sure I'm getting the name. So accepting everything as a prasada buddhi is because I'm able to do the Ishwararpanam, because I know that he's a controller. I am not the controller of anything. I think more I walk through this, I'm able to live in highs and lows at a factor of equanimity. Long way to go, but these sessions of yours is able to make me realize and stay in that awareness. Thank you very much, Shekharji.
Yeah, thank you, Avija. I'm glad you're bringing up this. You are able to put together both the Vyavaharika problems and also trying to use the Atma knowledge to come out of it. Very brilliant, very good. I'm glad you are. See, this is how we should use the knowledge. Jacqueline, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Mr. Shekhar, you just hit the jackpot there, Yeah, people will say, even I say, I'm tired of the world. So what is happening? As the Atma, I think, yes, it's eternal, but as a human being, it is a bit of a big challenge and profound.
See, that is where you have to use this knowledge again and again to come out of your challenges, meet your challenges to the best extent possible.
Yeah.
Okay, meet your challenges. Don't run away from the challenges. Don't run away and say, no, I'm running away from this. No, meet the challenges. Do what you can.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, everybody. I think we had a good session, extremely brilliant session of discussions. Shama, yeah?
Very quick one. I hope it's a quick answer. I just want to know does anyone have a very quick tip in terms of how do you stop the self-critic in your head, which actually does more harm than good. I wish I could just simply accept and say, yes, the demon and the daiva both in me is fine, and just accept it. But there is that kind of constant, it's almost like you program your head and say, this is what I expect myself. So I'm not saying expectations from others, but it's just expectations from your own self, which you maybe put your target too tight or whatever. So I just wondered if somebody has a quick tip.
Sir, I have some answers to this, sir. I've been working on it. So can I share? So what I do is I consider myself as an instrument of God. Finish. That's it. Every second I'm saying I'm not the doer, he's doing it through me. The moment I realize that I am not the doer, self-critic disappears, vanishes, drops. I'm just an instrument. That's what I do, sir. And it's really worked very well for me.
Very good, Vishal. Very good.
I absolutely agree with him. However, I am also aware that we ourselves are actually creating our own, what I'm going or not going through, what I'm achieving or not achieving is absolutely my own karma phala, you know. So what I don't want to do is to create more negative karmas for myself. So this really where my dilemma is, that how can I be assured except to say, yes, good
So
Lord
can I
is
answer
looking
that?
after me.
Sir,
Yeah.
can I answer that?
Yeah,
So
yeah, go
what
ahead.
I've done for that is I've stopped judging negative and good karmas. Karmas are karmas. The suffering is the best thing that has happened to me. Suffering is the best thing because
I don't
suffering
mind
has
that.
transformed. So suffering
Yeah.
has transformed me. So the
I am
moment to judge, the moment I have stopped my mind from judging good, bad, right, wrong, there has been a
Namaskar, Vinayji.
freedom.
Namaskar,
A
Vinayji.
freedom.
Namaskar, Vinayji. The whole idea is, the whole idea of session is not to suffer. Shekharji has been taking sessions that
He
you
is
are not
suffering.
destined
He
to
is
suffer. It's
suffering.
status of mind. You don't have to suffer. It's a choice whether you want to suffer or
accept
not.
your suffering, suffering disappears. Sir. The moment you accept, I've been through a lot of suffering. I just accepted my suffering. That's it, and it disappears.
I don't know. I would rather surrender it to God and say, it's yours. Please suffer. I am not here to suffer.
Give it back to God himself.
Yes, that's called
Yeah.
surrender. Give it back to him. Yeah. Your
Anybody
mind
else
and
has an
buddhi
answer
think.
to Shama's direct question?
I have
I've
I have
typed
a
it in the
suggestion.
chat box. Shekharji, you may want to see that and advise.
Yeah, you said that your Amritasya Putra live in the divine plane, not as a BMI level.
I do believe it. I do believe it. Yeah. I do believe it.
Yeah, Bharat, you were saying something?
Yes. Well, I think there's quite a lot of background noise. Okay.
Yeah, can everybody else mute their mics? Yeah.
I was just going to say, I agree with everything that's been said. It's all beautiful. I was actually going to respond to something a step lower, which is the dark night of the soul. And in my experience, I feel that this dark night of the soul, this feeling of emptiness, everything is emptiness. You feel like an exoskeleton. Your mind is empty, your body is empty, the world is empty. It's a deeply, even the tamasic state. You can see the fact that the sad memories or happy memories or everything, everything is empty. But then I can't quite explain it, but I'll try to express it. But there is a snap realization that there is something which is knowing the emptiness, and that is the blessing. It's a form of divine love, a trust that everything is fine. Like that's perhaps a way, but it's again, from the teaching's point of view, you might say, what is knowing that emptiness? It it really doesn't matter what is going on. The fact is that there is something which is knowing everything, nothing, something, no thing. It's constantly there, and it's that gratefulness, the appreciation that it can be seen.
Yeah.
So whatever is happening, you can only do what's in front of your nose. Past is gone, future hasn't yet happened. Do what's right in front of you. Do it to the very best of your ability. As Nike says, just do it. It's fine.
Yeah, I got your answer, but Shama, this is also a fairly good answer. Think about it, what he is saying. You see, many a times, Shama, what happens to, what my contribution to this question is, see, mind goes through delusions. All of us must remember this fact. Our mind goes through delusions after delusions. You know, it's in a state of complete delusion, and it can be in a state of what you're saying of emptiness is also a delusion. So But this delusion, while it is happening, you don't realize it. You realize it only when you are when you're slightly away from it, withdrawn from it. At that state, you should really wake up, like how Bharat is saying, like Vijay is saying, Vishal is saying, wake up to that knowledge of the seer of that delusion, and drop the delusion and see again, go back and say, okay, let me go back to my study. Let me go back to my self-knowledge. Let me regroup myself, come back again into life. See, this is where the seeker understands the value of moksha. Moksha means what? I want to get rid of this particular problem which Shama is experiencing, which everybody experiences, not only her. Vishal experiences, Chandra experiences, Venkatesh experiences, Jacqueline, everybody experiences it. I experience it. How do I get rid of this is the whole subject matter of the spiritual study. And every time when you study something, let this knowledge come again and again. I am always free. I am Atma. Again and again, emphasize yourself in your own mind. That is the best treatment which Lord Krishna teaches to Arjuna. Arjuna, you are only an instrument. You are not the doer. Things are happening. It is karma phala which is happening in this Jagrat Avastha. As you take it as given, it is karma phalam of a jiva, karma phalam of a jiva. It is my phalam today to experience this joy or sorrow. It could be joy also. It can be sorrow also. It is a mixture. Life is a mixture. I mean, it's an extremely interesting discussion we had today, and there's a lot of lessons from it. I'm sure everybody must have benefited from it. I will close this. Yeah,
I just want to make some concluding comments. I wanted to thank you everybody for joining in this very lively discussion. Also, what I just have to admit, actually, having raised all the big storm, what I have to admit that the joy of being in the spiritual journey is far much greater than any little kind of, bottlenecks that one comes across, or short periods of delusion or emptiness or darkness or whatever. So overall, it's a wonderful place to be in, even and to be joining in the spiritual journey. And what is so delightful is you meet so many people who are all in the same process. So overall, it's so great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shama. Thank you, everybody. And we'll meet next week, next Saturday. And we'll continue the Keno Upanishad in another format. Thank you. Good night.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Shekharji. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Shekharji.
Thank you, Bharat.